What's happening, everybody? I'm Robert Price, your productivity coach, helping you achieve more faster. And I'd like to welcome you to Productivity Boss Moves, Episode 1 Four Reasons Why Most of Us Waste Time Learning. Right. I know that sounds crazy, like, waste time learning? Like, what do you mean by that? How am I going to waste time learning? That's like an oxymoron. But here's what I mean by it. Have you ever heard the quote, knowledge is power? Many of us have heard that. And many of us have learned that it's actually not knowledge that's power, it's applied knowledge that's power, right? So, one of the things that I don't think we have a shortage of is resources, right? With the Google, with the internet, information is out there. There's all these different programs people invest in. The information, there's no shortage of information, but there is a shortage of execution. And man, I made some changes in my game, over the past couple of months in terms of the way that I've been really handling the information that's been coming into my circle. And one of the things that I do now, it started in a personal development group I'm a part of. Really, the calls that I would be getting on, I would be like, man, I would get off the call and be like, man, this is some phenomenal information, and I would have every intention on executing that information that week. And my execution would be like hit or miss. Some weeks I would do it, but most weeks I wouldn't really follow through the way I know that I'm capable of. So, I really had to take a step back and like, look, I'm paying money to be a part of this program. I'm coming across all these phenomenal resources, but I'm experiencing growth, but not exponential growth the way I know I could be if I was applying this information regularly, right? So here's the thing. So, four reasons why most of us waste time learning. This is what I found out. Reason number one, we do not take concentrated notes. Like, concentrated notes, what does that even mean? Concentrated notes. So, one of the things I've learned is the best thing about our phones is that everything is in our phones. But the worst thing about our phones is everything is in our phones. So when it comes to taking notes, when we type our notes in our phones and they're jumbled up with the rest of the stuff that's going on in our phones, our text messages, our emails, our social media accounts, like everything is right there. Like the chance that we're gonna go back and actually take time to review that information, man, that's slim to almost none, right? So one of the things I started applying is I started getting a notebook and a pen. What a novel what a novel concept, right? A notebook and a pen. But I started to get a notebook and a pen. So now when I take in information, and this is anywhere. This goes for taking in information anywhere, whether you're in church, whether you're on a call in a personal development group, you're listening to a podcast, you're reading a book, like whatever it is, a notebook and a pen. Yep. So I would take the notebook and the pen, and I would take concentrated notes. And what was helping me to be able to take concentrated notes, since I'm not on my phone and not vetting text messages and other messages that are coming through while I'm on a call, and I think I'm focused 100%, but there's actually other stuff vying for my attention when my focus is there. What happens is, boom, I'm just concentrated on the paper and pen. There's no notifications that's hopping off of that. So now I can get those notes in. And there is there's a study out there that shows that when you actually write the information down, because you can't write as fast as you can type. So when you write the information out, it sinks down into you deeper than if you were typing that information. Yep. So that's number one. Like, take concentrated notes, keep it in a certain spot. And then you could have a different notebook for the different forms of communication that you're taking in, or different forms of teaching that you're taking in. And that helps you to keep everything organized where you can find it in those particular places and you're not hopping all over the places, right there for you. All right, so that's number one. We don't take concentrated notes. Number two, we do not schedule review time. We do not schedule review time. I know somebody's like, what do you mean by scheduling review time? Here's what I mean by that. When we take in information, it is, I believe, it's our deepest intention to actually follow up on that information. That's our intention. Like, I'm going to take this and I'm going to do something with it right away. But here's the thing about that. It's just like anything else. When you don't put it in your schedule and you don't make it a priority, it typically doesn't happen. So although you meant to review whatever that information is that you were taking in, when you don't do it right then and there, or you don't have another scheduled time that you're going to go back and review that information, it typically doesn't happen. So what I noticed is, because I started scheduling, there's some calls that I attend, so I started scheduling review time immediately following the call, like a half an hour of review time. It doesn't need to go that long if I'm able to review the information quicker than that, but, you know, I at least allot that time. So anyways, what I noticed is, because I scheduled this review time, when the call is over, I go to close my notebook up and get up and do something else immediately. And what I found out was, oh, snap. I don't really remember, or it didn't really sink into me, most of the information that I just heard on that call. That didn't happen. So now that I have this review time scheduled, I'm like, now I'm going over it. I'm okay. I remember these things, and now it's sinking into me. So I've written it first. So that's helped me to really, get it better. But now I'm reading over it again, and that's helping me to get it in as well. And so you're not just reading it over just to read it over. Like, that's not the goal here. So that's why we're going to reason number 3 right now, which is we do not identify action items. So when you're reviewing your notes, really you should be starring. That's my system of choice. I star the information that I'm like, I need to take action on that. So I star that information, or you can do A, or however you want to indicate it, but pull that information out. One of the other pieces of information that I pull out from my notes is I pull out the stuff that I definitely, I gotta remember that. Like quotes to remember, or nuggets to remember, even if it's not necessarily a action item per se, but it's one of those things you want to definitely take with you. So here, and I know you're like, star it, what are you doing all of that for? It's in your notebook, it's right there. Well, why I do that, I actually transfer that information to an event in my phone. With this call review, I transfer it to an event in my phone where I copy the action items to this event, and whatever, quotes or whatever I want to remember, I copy it to my phone. And why do I do that? Because what are the chances, if I'm keeping all of these different notebooks, that during the week I'm actually going to sit down and pull out any of these notebooks? My life, busy, entrepreneur, on the go, stuff is on my phone. Like, I'm probably not going to take time to actually pull out these notebooks. I'm setting myself up for failure, right? If I'm depending on that. And I've already scheduled this time for review, so I'm definitely not scheduling another time to review it throughout the week. But here's what I'm doing. I'm putting it in this event in my phone. And here's what's powerful about that. When I'm at the doctor's office, when I'm, waiting on dinner to be ready, or when I'm doing whatever the case may be, I'm just chilling for a minute. Boom. I can pull out my phone and I can see these items and I can say, okay, I still need to move on that. Or uh, you know, I can do this as well in addition to that. Like, just ideas kind of populate. And what happens is it's in an organized place, it's on your calendar. So that's a very powerful, spot that you can see on your calendar right there. So, you keeping it handy. So it's really four reasons, just to review it, was four reasons why we waste time learning. We don't take concentrated notes. We we don't schedule time for review. We don't identify action items, and we don't keep the information handy. It's those four reasons. So those are four things that you can begin to take notes. You can begin to take notes, take concentrated notes, not just a note here or there when you hear something that, oh, that's really good, but like really take notes. Um, and this is a bonus nugget for you. Like, a lot of people, the reason why many people don't take concentrated notes, what I noticed is people walk around like, man, I know it already. I know what they're going to say. And they have that in the back of their mind. It's a four-word, resolve that they make before they hear the information. I already know this. But the four words they should really be asking themselves is, am I doing this? Right? Not I already know this, but am I doing this? And that transfers you to this concentrated notes, because now you recognize that when I write this down, it's not about whether I know it or not already. It's about ingraining it into my system, where now there is clear, deliberate, intentional action that I'm taking as a result of it. But anyways, we can take concentrated notes. Number two, we can schedule time for review. Number three, we can identify action items. And then we can keep it handy. And that's how we make sure that we don't waste time learning. Again, I am Robert Price, your productivity coach, helping you achieve more faster. This is Productivity Boss Moves episode 1. 4 reasons why we waste time, why most of us waste time learning. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe on YouTube, subscribe to this page, and let's go, y'all. Let's stop wasting time learning. Let's get it.